What's up? This is Elise here, and oh my god, we got a week 18 of the really. This is it, the final week of regular season football, where, particularly on the AFC side, there are playoff teams, particularly teams that are still in the hunt to make the playoffs. The Chargers, the Raiders, the Ravens, the Steelers all have a chance to make the playoffs. Oh, and the Colts as well. So we forgot about that team. On the NFC side, there are still some, you know, teams that still have to figure out who clinches what. Particularly, the Niners and the Saints both have playoffs on life support. Niners win, they're in. Saints win, and the Niners lost, and the Saints at 9-8 will make the playoffs. But before that, let's go over the three biggest games that we have this season. The biggest game of the season, which is the last game of the regular season, ends with the biggest game of the year between the Las Vegas Raiders and the Los Angeles Chargers. These teams, with the offense they've had, they should both make the playoffs. But here in the NFL, there are so many spots, but with so many teams. Whoever wins this game makes the playoffs. And how can they win? Well, with the offense that they have, this could be a shootout. But the X factor, defense. These two teams, they've had games where the defenses has stepped up. However, some of these games, it's come down to one mistake or one big play that changes the game. Let's talk about what each teams have had to deal with this season. On the Chargers side, they've had to deal with anything, maybe some heartbreaking losses, but they've managed thanks to Brandon Staley's coaching. His first year as a head coach, and he's taking big plays after big plays. They've been aggressive on fourth down. They have made the plays when it needs to. And he's a smart head coach. Even though that game against the Chiefs, he made some mistakes, that's what a coach should do. Go aggressive when the game's on the line. But take it simple because you don't want to give up points or leave points off the board because you might need them for later on. But for Justin Herbert, this offense runs from him. With the weapons of Austin Eckler, Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, Jarvis Gutton, Donald Parham, and Joshua Palmer, the sky's the limit. And the offensive line rookie Slater has been incredible. And bringing in Corey Lindsey from the Packers, the All-Pro, has been a relaxing scene for Justin Herbert. But he hasn't been taken down, but they bounce back when he needs to. The defense, it's Nick Bosa. He's the key to this offense. His other part, safety Jerwin James. He's still good, even though his season numbers might not. Well, I think he still makes plays when he needs to. In order for the Chargers to win, they have to keep the ball, be aggressive when they need to, and not make careless mistakes. Will they do that? We'll have to figure out. On the Raiders side, let's just say it's been a rocky season. After John Gruden got fired, we all thought the Raiders are going to go back to what they were in the second half, collapse. And, well, it has been, but not badly enough. Their biggest win of the year was against the Cowboys, when penalties after penalties came in. But still, they survived. Derek Carr had a big night, and he has been the entire season. The offense runs with Derek Carr. The biggest X factor is going to be the running game. Even though Josh Jacobs hasn't put up big statistics so far this season, he's still a threat when he needs to. And he's been great in the passing game too. But the passing game, the big one, Hunter Renfrow. Started as a third string wide receiver, now boosted up the first after Henry Ruggs was released. Darren Waller, he's been in and out of the lineup, but he could be coming back tomorrow night. And that could be the biggest factor. Because Darren Waller, since coming from a suspension, he's been unbelievable with the Raiders in his career. And we'll see if he can do that tonight or tomorrow versus the Chargers. Defensively, Yannick Ngakoue and Max Crosby, the Pro Bowl Max Crosby, he's been incredible. Casey Hayward has played great corner football. And they're starting to get, the hang of it. But this game is going to be all the marbles. Derek Carr has not tasted playoff football in a long time. There's only Justin Herbert. So one of these QBs is going to get a taste of playoff glory. The other one is going to be back doing some offseason talks. So it's going to be a big one, and we'll see what these teams can bring on Sunday Night Football for the final time this season. This can quite possibly be the biggest stakes of all time for the Colts. Not only do the Colts need to win, but this win can put two teams out of playoff contention, the Ravens and the Steelers. But there is a bit of glimpse that we got to talk about. The Jaguars have defeated the Colts at home and have never lost to them since 2014. The Jaguars have taken care of them last year in week 1, but then lost in the final week of the game. So there is a bit of hope that the Jags can pull up an upset. But it's not going to be easy when John Taylor is running like a madman and Michael Pittman has been a best target, best reliable target for Carson Wentz. The Colts have had some really strong wins, including the Patriots, taking down the Kyler Murray Cardinals, and all of other wins. They started the season off with an embarrassing loss to the Seahawks. And then, after losing a couple straight, after beating the Dolphins, then almost losing to the Ravens, almost beating the Ravens, they've gotten pretty nicely. And sure, it might be against easy teams, but that Pats win, oh, that's not easy when you got Bill Belichick on the other side. But for the Jaguars, they've had upsets this year, and one of them was the Buffalo Bills. Who would have thought that the Buffalo Bills would lose to Jacksonville? Like, that is embarrassing. And Jaguars could put another embarrassment to the Colts. Because if the Colts lose, they would have to hope the Ravens and the Steelers lose that game for them to clinch a playoff berth. Because the Ravens Steelers playoff hopes are on the Colts Jags shoulders. If the Jags pull up an upset, they are in. This could quite possibly be the first chance for Carson Wentz after devastating injuries. After getting hit in the head in the first career playoff game, this could be the defining moment. Can the Colts pull another bag of tricks, or will the Jacksonville Jaguars get their second upset win of this season? It all comes down to this. Colts win, and two more playoff teams are out the door. In what might be Jimmy Garoppolo's last game as a 49er, the Niners have their playoff lives on the line, but they have the tiebreaker. If they win, they're in, but the Saints win and the Niners lose, the Niners season is done. And with the situation Jimmy Garoppolo might be playing his final game as a 49er, a win would be a most welcoming sight for the Niners. They've battled through injury last year. Troy Lance hasn't had much snaps. He did play only one start, but he has been a fine young man. And even though they lost Raheem Mostert in week 1, Elijah Mitchell has taken care of the rest. And Deebo Samuel, a year last year where he had foot injuries, he's become the best two-way player in the entire league. Had a stretch where he rushed for touchdowns. And George Kittle, how about his stats? Even though he hasn't put up the numbers because of injuries, he's still a great tight end and a great blocking tight end. Now, the history between these teams goes back to before Jimmy Garoppolo was, playing most of the games. When Jimmy G took over, the Niners were winning. Even though he didn't play most of the games against the Rams, he was basically the starting piece of that Super Bowl run when we had a few years ago with that healthy team. However, the Rams, they need to win the NFC West so bad because with the talent they have, they can't afford to lose and go into a wild card game because you might be going up against the Cowboys who have a lot of star power and they can get help with their defense who even though they give up yardage, Darren Donald's still one of the best defensive players ever. I mean, sure, they may have given up yardage, but when Aaron Donald's there, you're in trouble. If you're a best wide receiver, watch out for Jalen Ramsey. I mean, talk about a team that has so much talent. So with the games on the line, both teams need to win, but for the Niners, it's a must win. Again, when they're in, lose, and the Saints win, the Niners season is done. And it would be disheartening for the Niners if they lose. And Jimmy Garoppolo, fortunately, ends the season with a loss.